And why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Inspector Todd Loining, the commander of the 5th Precinct, Minneapolis Police Department.
And what are your duties here as the commander of the precinct?
You know, like I shared with you earlier, sir, my rank is police inspector of the 5th Precinct. And a lot of times community members ask me, well, Inspector, what do you inspect? And I always take time out to explain to them, well, it's not that I necessarily inspect anything. I am in charge of the overall operations here, so I am the commander of the precinct. Sometimes I use that just to kind of explain a little better. But here at the precinct, my job, my role is overall management of the entire precinct, the operations here, and making sure that we're all on task, we're taking care of business, everybody's working hard. We provide timely, professional, equal service, police service to all community members that we so proudly protect and serve.
And you do a lot of community outreach.
We do a lot of community outreach, work with the community, and always working to further develop our working partnerships with the community that we serve, along with gaining our community's support and trust. I mean, it's huge. So,
how important do you think transparency is to what you do?
Transparency is big. Transparency is very important, and for me, it's the power of communication. It's taking time out and letting people, not only here at the precinct, I'd like to keep everybody informed timely of changes that are going to occur, but also letting the community know what things are occurring in their community. What crimes are we seeing? Are there certain crime patterns or trends that are occurring, and what is it that we're doing about it? And do they need to be aware of anything that we're looking for? Anybody that, any suspect vehicle? We get a lot of strong partnership with the community, and it's been an awesome relationship to fight crime.
Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but what would happen if one of your officers was caught on videotape choking someone to death or shooting someone in the back? I mean, how would you handle that?
That's a very good question. First of all, I don't ever want to see or hear anything like that from in regards to a Minneapolis police officer. However, in the event something like that were to happen, we would manage that very swiftly, very seriously, and it would be investigated very thoroughly. We would not miss anything on that. There is a process for me to work with our internal affairs unit and make sure that that information is relayed, that all evidence is gathered, whether there's video out there available and stuff like that, that the case would be interviewed or investigated, and if there's anything of a criminal nature, we would take a look at that as well. I would, I could go on and on. I think it's very important. I always work very closely with the chief, making sure that the chief is informed of what's occurring at the precinct, and if we have a problem, I want the chief to be aware of it. And I think that is something that, like the situation you just described, I think it would be something that I would work very closely with the chief to ensure that, not only are we as the Minneapolis Police Department taking full responsibility to ensure the facts. I mean, what occurred? Did it actually occur? Is it an allegation? Is there some truth to it? And if it is, we have to hold that officer responsible. Hold them responsible for any internal policy procedure violations and or any criminal violations. And I would work very closely with the chief to make sure that we get information out, not only to our staff, our entire Minneapolis police officer, about what occurred, but also the community. Now, with an ongoing investigation of any sort, there is confidentiality that needs to be maintained for the integrity of the case investigation. However, as we're able to, I think it's very important to keep people informed, control the rumor mill, but yet on the same aspect, it's also really about protecting that employee as well. Because sometimes we get accusations that come in, and there's a process for us to thoroughly investigate that to find out, did this actually occur or did it not? So,
how do you think Minneapolis is different than, say, Baltimore or Ferguson in how you would handle something like the incidences there?
Minneapolis is a beautiful city. It's a very thriving, diverse city. people take great pride in the community, in the city. There's so many things to get involved in. I think that the city of Minneapolis is not, like I said, very diverse, but also in their arts, their music, their outdoor activities they enjoy getting involved in, that type of thing. So there's so many different things that Minneapolis provides community members. I mean, we have beautiful lakes. We have some of the finest restaurants, in my opinion, in the world. I mean, it's just outstanding. And it's just a fun, thriving city.
And
I'm proud to be a part of this.
And that makes us different in terms of how the police work with the community.
Oh, you're talking about those incidents that occurred. Okay, I get it.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, like I told you earlier, with all due respect, I'm not going to comment on the incidents that occurred in those other cities. It's unfortunate that those communities have had to go through those incidents, and I know the police departments out there probably take great pride. Without any doubt, they take great pride in what they do and serving the community, and I'm sure they're doing much like any other major city would do, or any police department for that matter, and that's keeping people informed and working with the community, developing community support and trust, and making sure that we keep people informed and that things are managed correctly, professionally, timely, equally. Equality is a big thing.
And transparency.
I do love, yes, transparency. You know that. We've talked about that all morning.
We have.
Yes. One thing I just want to say is, again, with all due respect for those cities, those leaders, and the community members, I would rather not comment on my position in terms of whether I see it one way or the other. I think it's just they've gone through some very tough situations. I think they've been managed to the best that they're able to. And I think, like any significant incident, there's always an opportunity for us to learn from something that we've been through.
Well, what do you hear through the police grapevine that isn't being reported on the news?
What do I hear from the police grapevine that's not being...
Assuming there is one.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And when I say yeah, I'm not saying there isn't a police grapevine, by the way. Let's be clear. I think you're asking me to comment on Baltimore and Missouri, and I just would rather not, with all due respect.
Okay.
So.
Well, then let's switch to a different topic that we talked about. You've been on the force here for 23 years.
Correct.
And you were a Marine before that. How important was being a Marine to being a policeman and where you are now?
Well, like I told you earlier, I take great pride. I look at the course of my life, some of the most important things that I hold near and dear to my heart. Obviously, my family, the Minneapolis Police Department. This has been one of the most rewarding, joyous things I've ever been a part of. I really enjoy it, and the Marines is also one of them. And to be a part of something that's so large like that, I learned a tremendous amount of skills and responsibilities and discipline that really being part of the United States Marine Corps just made me a better person. And I think because it made me a better person, it just made me a better police officer. So.
Okay, any last thoughts? Anything you want to say?
I don't. You're a good, thorough reporter. I've enjoyed my opportunity talking to you today, and we went out and did a ride along. I know it probably wasn't as active as you would like, but I thought it was more important that we really just had some good conversation. So I just want to thank everybody for their taking time and seeing what we had to say here today, and just want to encourage everybody to get involved with their communities. Take pride in this beautiful city, Minneapolis, and we need your participation, your cooperation. We eagerly look to work hard to obtain your support and your trust. We will be more effective at crime resolution working with the community partners that we have. So thank you all very much.
Well, and thank you, Inspector Todd Loining.
All right, sir.